Mr. Castaldi, how you would assess the work of the Council on Turkey? Do you think that really the protection of European borders can be outsourced to the third party?
We are absolutely critics towards that new agreement between the European Union and Turkey, especially about those new requests by Turkey, because finally, yes, we understood that they are trying to help those 3 million of refugees, but the situation of human rights is really deteriorating inside Turkey, especially against the Kurdish minority, the Kurdish party in the southeast of the country. And also we should take in account the role of Turkey in Syria, that actually is pushing some militias that are fighting against the Kurdish militias that are the real fighters against Daesh until now. So we think that more than agreement, we were blackmailed by the Turkish requests, and I do not think that they are doing step in the right direction to join the European Union. But this Turkey, today Turkey of Erdogan party, is farther and farther from the process. So I think that if we are in disagreement saying that we should open new chapters, we are in fact not taking into account the reality of the country today. And I think that our political position should be more tough and more coherent with the European values in this moment. Turkey should show its commitment to the enlargement progress and process and to the European values, and then we could see if it's possible to strengthen the partnership. We could not say the contrary. In fact, the European Union is accepting at this moment this agreement just because it's not able to solve to find a joint solution for migration among the 28 different governments. So it's a clear lack of leadership and a clear lack of strategy in this moment that we are trying to solve outsourcing the problem to the Turkish. But this is not the way we can solve it, and this is not the way a geopolitical important actor as the European Union should act in the foreign affairs panorama.
So what is your idea how the European borders should be controlled? Should be a coastal guard that liberals are calling for, or any other plan? How do you see that?
The fundamental problem is that everybody is asking for new tools, but if there is no political joint will and strategy, the new tools will be just useless. We will not need a joint coastal guard if we will not have a strategy on the top, and because those instruments should be coherent with the strategy. And the first pillar of the strategy should be to have a joint system of quotas sharing, so all the migrants between the different 28 countries. Otherwise, there will be no possibility, and it's not acceptable to transform Italy and Greece into big buffer zone in which they will put all those poor migrants and those poor souls that are trying to come here to have a new future. Without a permanent mechanism of redistribution, there will be no strategy, and without strategy, it's useless really to discuss about tools. And so we must need a clear expression of will by the 28 governments. Otherwise, we are just joking with the public opinion. They are just joking from the Council and the Commission with the public opinion. And I think that in front of the humanitarian catastrophe, it is not acceptable to joke.
What do you think about the rejection of our East European countries to accept quotas regime?
The problem is that they are just following to the trap of a kind of populism, and I do not understand sincerely why we are speaking always about solidarity when the south of the Europe should pay the bill, and the east and the north would never want to share also the cost of the solidarity and the cost of the solution for joint problems. In this moment, migrations is a problem for the whole Europe, not just for Southern Europe. So everybody should have his duty and should do it's a force. It is not acceptable that some countries will say no, we want to withdraw, because it's also for their political choices if we are in this situation, and everybody should do his part.
What do you think about Schengen? Is it the end of Schengen?
There is that risk just for the lack of leadership by the different government in the council, and for those stupid games they are playing some governments just to win the other their own elections. In fact, if Schengen will collapse, we will pay a huge bill, all of us, for the cost of the different of commerce and freedom of movement that will be cancelled. But on the other hand, we really need a proud and a strong action now by the Commission and by the governments to go to the direction of the redistribution mechanism systems. Otherwise, it's true that Schengen will collapse. It's not acceptable the behavior of those governments that are trying to push more migrants to their neighbor, and also those other neighbors are doing the same, so trying to push for a domino effect. This is exactly the consequence of the incorrect behavior those governments has taken until now.